After 2 years of dating, my girlfriend uninvited me from Thanksgiving because her real boyfriend was coming back to announce their engagement. Thanksgiving has always been a tricky time for me. A holiday filled with commercials of happy families sitting around a table that felt like a cruel reminder of what I never had. My dad, a consultant constantly jet-setting around the globe, had always prioritized work over family. My mom remarried and immersed in her new family. Didn't have much space for me either. Holidays usually meant microwave meals in my apartment, scrolling through Instagram, pretending the solitude didn't bother me. So when Carolina, my girlfriend Lily's mother, invited me to their family's Thanksgiving dinner, it felt like a dream come true. She pulled me aside after one of their boisterous Sunday dinners, her hands clasping mine warmly. "Max, we'd love for you to join us for Thanksgiving this year. It's a family tradition, and it wouldn't feel right without you." Her sincerity was overwhelming. Lily's family was everything mine wasn't. They were close-knit, loud, and endlessly supportive of one another. Caroline had a way of making me feel like part of the family, asking about my day, packing me leftovers, and even sharing old family recipes. Their Thanksgiving celebration wasn't just a dinner. It was a 4-day extravaganza at their cabin in the woods, complete with board games, hikes, and laughter echoing through the trees. For the first time in years, I looked forward to the holiday. The invitation energized me. I bought a warm emerald green sweater dress that made me feel confident and festive. I experimented with a pumpkin pie recipe, wanting it to be perfect for Caroline's dinner table. Lily seemed happy about it too, or so I thought. Then a week before Thanksgiving, everything changed. Lily and I were on the couch wrapped in a blanket watching Netflix. It was one of those mundane yet comforting evenings. Without looking up from her phone, she said casually, "Oh, by the way, you won't be coming to Thanksgiving dinner." The room went silent. I thought I misheard her. "What?" She glanced at me briefly. "Yeah. My mom forgot she invited you. It's just complicated." "Complicated?" My mind raced. Caroline had been thrilled about me coming. She'd even planned the menu around my favorite dishes. "What do you mean complicated?" She didn't forget Lily. She was the one who invited me. She sighed, muting the TV as if she were already over this conversation. "Look, it's a family thing. Okay? My mom sometimes gets carried away inviting people. It doesn't mean she doesn't like you, but she probably realized it's not the best time." Her tone was so dismissive it made my chest tighten. "Lily, I don't have anywhere else to go. My dad's overseas and my mom." I trailed off, unwilling to explain yet again why her house wasn't an option. "What am I supposed to do? Sit at home alone while you all celebrate?" Lily gave me a look I couldn't quite read. Sympathy mixed with something else. Guilt? Resignation? "We can FaceTime," she offered, like that would make up for being uninvited from something I had been so excited about. "You're making this a bigger deal than it is." My heart sank. It wasn't just about Thanksgiving dinner. It was the sudden change, the cold way she brushed off my feelings. I'd spent 2 years feeling like I was part of her life, part of her family, and now I felt like a stranger being pushed to the sidelines. I didn't push further that night. I just sat there staring at the TV without seeing a single frame of the show, trying to make sense of what had just happened. The Lily I knew, the one who left her own Christmas dinner last year to spend it with me when I was alone, wouldn't do this. Something wasn't adding up, but I didn't yet know how deep this rabbit hole went. The room felt heavier after Lily's announcement, like the air had thickened with tension. I tried to keep calm even though my thoughts were spiraling. "Lily, your mom specifically invited me. She seemed so excited. Why would she forget?" My voice cracked slightly, betraying the hurt I was trying to suppress. Lily didn't even look up from her phone. She just shrugged and muttered, "Max, it's not personal. Sometimes things change. You can still come to the other days, just not the dinner." "The dinner?" The heart of Thanksgiving, the moment when everyone gathers together? Her dismissal cut deeper than I expected. I wasn't even sure what hurt more. The rejection itself or the way she seemed so indifferent about it. "But Lily," I pressed. "You know how much this meant to me. I don't have anywhere else to go. My dad's overseas again. And my mom," I paused, unwilling to open that Pandora's box. This was the one thing I was actually looking forward to." You saw it like I was the one being difficult. "Look, we can FaceTime during dinner," she offered with a hollow smile. "It's not a big deal." "Not a big deal." My chest tightened. "FaceTime," I repeated. My voice tinged with disbelief. "Do you even hear yourself? I'm being uninvited from something your mom specifically wanted me at, and you think FaceTime fixes that?" Her jaw tightened. "You're making this into a drama. I said you can still come to the other days." I stared at her, searching for any sign of understanding, but she was back to scrolling on her phone. It was as though this entire conversation was an inconvenience to her. The rest of the evening was awkward. We sat there in silence, the Netflix show playing in the background, but neither of us was paying attention. I replayed her words over and over in my head, trying to make sense of them. Lily wasn't usually like this. She'd always been supportive and attentive, the type of girlfriend who remembered the little things and made me feel seen. This sudden shift didn't just feel inconsiderate, it felt calculated. I couldn't help but think back to how welcoming her family had been to me. I'd helped Caroline set up for her sister Harper's baby shower just a few months ago, spending hours decorating the backyard with flowers and balloons. Harper had hugged me afterward, thanking me for all the effort I'd put in. Caroline had insisted I stay for dinner that night, packing me leftovers to take home. Then there was Lily's younger brother, Mark, who always joked that I brought out the best in Lily. "He's way less of a grouch since you came around," Mark had said with a grin the last time I saw her. Even Harper's toddler had called me Uncle Max during one of the Sunday dinners. It all felt so genuine. I thought I was part of their family, or at least becoming part of it. So why this sudden change? Why now? That night as I lay in bed staring at the ceiling, unease gnawed at me. Lily's behavior hadn't just shifted with Thanksgiving. It had started weeks ago. The secretive texts, the phone calls she took in another room, the way she'd been smiling at her phone and brushing it off when I asked who she was talking to. At first, I told myself it was nothing. Everyone deserves a little privacy. Right? But now the pieces weren't fitting together. Something was off, and I couldn't ignore it anymore. By the time morning came, I was determined to get answers. Lily's vague explanations and dismissive attitude weren't enough. If she thought this conversation was over, she was wrong. Something was going on, and I intended to find out what. The tension between Lily and me hadn't eased. Over the next few days, she became increasingly withdrawn. Her phone practically an extension of her hand. Every time I tried to initiate a conversation, she'd offer clipped responses or excuse herself to another room. I told myself I was imagining things, but the pit in my stomach told me otherwise. One night, we were on the couch barely speaking when her phone buzzed on the coffee table. Lily had just stepped into the shower, leaving her phone behind for once. My eyes darted to the screen. A message preview flashed across it, and my heart nearly stopped. "KB, can't wait to see everyone's faces when we announce it." I froze, my mind racing. KB, who is KB? My pulse quickened as I stared at the screen. Lily's phone buzzed again. Another message, "KB, are you sure he doesn't suspect anything?" My stomach churned. I knew it was wrong, but curiosity and dread got the better of me. I grabbed the phone and unlocked it with the passcode I knew by heart. My hands trembled as I scrolled through the messages. KB wasn't a coworker or some innocent acquaintance. It was Kevin, her ex-boyfriend Kevin. The one she had described as ancient history the first time I asked about him early in our relationship. The messages were intimate, casual in a way that spoke of a long-standing connection. They've been texting for weeks, maybe months. The more I read, the more my heart sank. Their conversation wasn't just friendly. It was flirty, full of inside jokes and suggestive emojis. What hit me hardest though with a hint about Thanksgiving, "Kevin, it'll be just like old times." Lily, "Mom is thrilled. Everything's set. She won't be there to ruin it." "Kevin, you owe me big for putting up with all this." The text painted a horrifying picture. Kevin was coming back to her family's Thanksgiving, the same one I had been uninvited from. Worse, they were planning some sort of announcement. My mind spiraled. An engagement? A reunion? Whatever it was, I was clearly the unwanted outsider in their carefully crafted plan. The betrayal hit me like a punch to the gut. For 2 years, I had trusted Lily. I had opened up to her. Let her see the broken parts of me I rarely showed anyone, and yet she had been lying to my face. Keeping secrets with the man she swore was out of her life. I sat there clutching her phone, unsure of what to do. The shower was still running, but my time was running out. I took screenshots of the conversation and sent them to myself just in case she tried to gaslight me. When I heard the water shut off, I scrambled to put her phone back. My hands were shaking so badly, I nearly dropped it. I couldn't confront her right then. I wasn't ready. Instead, I grabbed my bag, muttering an excuse about needing to get home early. As I walked to my car, tears blurred my vision. Everything suddenly made sense. Her distance, the secretive behavior, the cold indifference when I questioned her about Thanksgiving. Lily wasn't just hiding something, she was actively pushing me out to make room for someone else. That night I stared at the screenshots on my phone until my eyes burned. The messages were clear, but I still couldn't wrap my head around it. How could she look me in the eye, kiss me, and pretend everything was fine while plotting this betrayal? I wanted to scream, to cry, to demand answers. But I also knew that once I opened this door, there would be no going back. For now, I needed to plan my next move. Whatever was going on, I wasn't going to let her sweep it under the rug. I spent the next day in a haze of anger and disbelief, replaying the screenshots over and over in my mind. Every message between Lily and Kevin felt like a fresh cut. I wasn't just angry, I was hurt, humiliated, and determined to get the truth. But I knew Lily would deny everything if I confronted her without more proof. That's when I decided to reach out to Harper, Lily's sister. Harper and I had always gotten along well. She was warm and genuine. The type of person who didn't shy away from tough conversations. I texted her casually at first asking how she was and dropping hints about Thanksgiving. When I finally asked, "Do you know if Kevin is coming this year?" her response was immediate and telling. "Harper, why do you ask?" My heart pounded as I typed. "I think Lily's been talking to him. I just need to know if he's part of the Thanksgiving plans." There was a long pause before Harper replied. "Max, I think you should talk to Lily about this. It's not my place." The pit of my stomach deepened. Harper's reluctance confirmed my worst fears. She didn't deny it. She knew something. That evening, I waited for the perfect moment to confront Lily. She was in the kitchen, leaning against the counter with her phone in hand, scrolling as usual. I could feel the heat rising in my chest as I approached her. Every nerve in my body on edge. "Why is Kevin texting you about Thanksgiving?" I asked, my voice sharp. Lily froze, her finger hovering over the screen. Her face went pale as she looked up at me, caught off guard. "What are you talking about?" She stammered, but the crack in her voice betrayed her. I crossed my arms, holding her gaze. "Don't lie to me, Lily. I've seen the messages. He's texting you about some big announcement." "What's going on?" Her eyes darted to her phone like it was a lifeline. "It's not what you think," she said weakly, but the words fell hollow. "Then tell me," I shot back, my voice trembling. "Did you want to invite me because he's coming back? Are you seriously choosing him over me?" Lily couldn't meet my eyes. She stared at the floor, mumbling, "It's complicated." That word, complicated. It felt like a slap in the face, a way to avoid taking responsibility. "Stop saying that," I yelled, my voice cracking. "Do you have any idea how much this hurts? You let me believe I was part of your family and now you're pushing me aside like I don't matter. What's going on, Lily?" Her shoulders slumped and for a moment I thought she might actually tell me the truth. But instead she said, "Max, I need time to figure this out." "Time? You needed time?" I stared at her, my chest heaving. "Figure what out, Lily? You've had 2 years to figure things out. You're stringing me along while you sneak around with him." Lily finally looked up, her eyes filled with guilt. "I didn't mean for it to get this messy," she said quietly. "That's not good enough," I said, my voice cold. "You've been lying to me, haven't you?" She didn't deny it. That was all the confirmation I needed. I grabbed my coat and bag, my hands shaking as I opened the door. "When you're ready to stop lying, you know where to find me. Until then, don't bother." I left before she could respond, the cool night air hitting my face like a wake-up call. My heart was racing. My emotions swinging between fury and heartbreak. This wasn't just about Kevin anymore. It was about Lily's complete lack of respect for me. As I walked away, I knew one thing for sure. I deserved the truth and I wasn't going to stop until I got it. The moment I ended things with Lily, I felt a temporary wave of relief, but that quickly gave way to gnawing uncertainty. There were still too many unanswered questions and I knew Lily wasn't going to be the one to provide clarity. That's when I decided to call Caroline, her mom. I told myself it was just to confirm what I already knew, but deep down I think I was hoping for some sort of denial. For her to say it was all a misunderstanding. I dialed her number, forcing my voice to sound cheerful. "Hi, Caroline. I just wanted to double check. Am I still bringing the pumpkin pie for Thanksgiving dinner?" The silence on the other end stretched so long I thought the call had dropped. Then Caroline's voice came through, hesitant and careful. "I thought Lily talked to you. Kevin's well. He's back. Lily thought it might be best if you didn't come to the dinner this year." I gripped my phone so tightly I thought it might crack. "Awkward?" I asked, my voice trembling despite my best effort to stay composed. "Why would it be awkward?" Caroline sighed, her tone drenched in that insincere sympathy people use when they're trying to ease a blow. "You're such a sweet boy, Max, and we all love having you around. But Kevin has history with the family. Everyone knows him, and it's just a lot to navigate. Lily didn't want anyone to feel uncomfortable." Her words hit like a punch to the gut. History? What about the 2 years I'd spent at their family dinners, birthdays, and celebrations? What about the history Lily and I were supposed to be building? I tried to keep my composure, but my voice cracked as I said, "Caroline, does Kevin coming back mean he and Lily are together?" Caroline hesitated. "It's complicated," she finally said, echoing Lily's favorite excuse. "Lily told me they've been talking and well, Kevin's always been a part of this family. We just want to do what's best for everyone." I couldn't listen to another word. My hands were shaking as I muttered something about needing to go and hung up. I sat on my couch in stunned silence, replaying the conversation in my head. Kevin's always been a part of this family. I was nothing more than a placeholder. A convenient stand-in while Lily and her family waited for Kevin to come back and reclaim his spot. The anger started to rise, bubbling up from the pit of my stomach. It wasn't just about Kevin, it was about all of them. Lily, Caroline, Harper, everyone who had smiled at me, hugged me, and pretended to care while knowing all along I wasn't the real one. I need to clear my head, so I grabbed my coat and went for a walk. The cold air stung my cheeks, but it didn't dull the rage boiling inside me. As I walked, I couldn't help but think about all the times I'd been there for Lily. Supporting her, caring for her, making space for her family in my life. And this was my reward. Being discarded the moment her real boyfriend came back, that's when I decided I wasn't done. I deserved answers and I was going to get them. Not just for closure but for the principle of it. Lily had taken 2 years of my life and I wasn't about to let her or her family erase me without a fight. I didn't sleep that night. After my call with Caroline, I sat in my apartment staring blankly at the wall, replaying every interaction with Lily over the past 2 years. The little moments I'd ignored or brushed off came rushing back, forming a disturbing picture I hadn't wanted to see. The next evening, against my better judgment, I went to Lily's apartment. I told myself it was to confront her, but deep down I think I was hoping she'd deny it. That she'd have some explanation to unravel the nightmare I'd stumbled into. When I arrived, she acted as though nothing was wrong. She greeted me with a casual, "Hey, babe," kissed my cheek and went back to her laptop. I sat on the couch watching her work, my stomach twisting in knots. The calmness in her demeanor was infuriating. How could she act so normal when my world was crumbling? After a few minutes, Lily said she was going to take a shower. As soon as I heard the water running, I made my move. Her phone was on a coffee table unlocked. I hesitated for a moment, my hands trembling, then I tapped on her messages. What I found made my blood run cold. The chat with Kevin was longer than I expected, stretching back months. At first, it was harmless, catching up, reminiscing, but then the tone shifted. Messages about finally being together again and picking up where they left off. Kevin had moved back to town a month ago, and Lily had been meeting him regularly. Then came the bombshell. "I can't wait for Thanksgiving dinner. Everyone's gonna be so excited when we announce it." Announce it? I scrolled further, desperate to find clarification, and there was a picture of a diamond ring Lily had sent Kevin. Engagement. The word burned in my mind as I stared at the screen. My chest tightened and for a moment, I couldn't breathe. Lily wasn't just cheating. She was preparing to propose to someone else. I felt sick. The woman I had spent 2 years with, the woman I thought I knew had been living a double life. She had looked me in the eyes, kissed me, and told me she loved me, all while planning a future with someone else. I quickly snapped pictures of the messages and sent them to my phone. My hands were shaking so badly that it took me 3 tries to type in my own number. Then I placed her phone exactly where I'd found it and grabbed my bag. I left her apartment without saying a word. When I got home, I locked the door and collapsed onto my bed, clutching my phone like a lifeline. I couldn't stop looking at the screenshots, as if the words would rearrange themselves into something less painful. Engaged to Kevin. The betrayal cut deeper than anything I'd ever felt before. It wasn't just the lies, it was the fact that I had trusted her completely. I had shared parts of myself with Lily that I'd never shared with anyone else. And she had used me, lied to me, and discarded me like I was nothing. I knew I couldn't keep this to myself. This wasn't just about confronting Lily anymore, it was about taking back control. For 2 years, she had manipulated me, and now it was my turn to take the reins. The anger I felt that morning was a strange mix of pain and clarity. I couldn't let this go without answers, but Lily clearly wasn't going to give them to me. That left Kevin. Against my better judgment, I opened Instagram and found his profile. It was full of carefully curated photos, trendy coffee shops, beach vacations, and an annoyingly perfect smile. His life looked too polished, like someone who'd never known the way to betrayal. I stared at the message button for a long time before typing out, "Hi Kevin, this is Max. I think we need to talk about Lily." I didn't expect a response, but to my surprise, he replied within minutes. "I was wondering when you'd reach out. What do you want to know?" His casual tone set my teeth on edge, but I forced myself to stay calm. "I need to understand what's going on. Lily and I have been together for 2 years, but from what I've seen, you two have been involved for months." His reply was immediate. "Involved? That's putting it lightly. Lily and I never really broke up. She said you were just someone to keep her mom off her back until I moved back to town." I gripped my phone so hard my knuckles turned white. My stomach churned as I typed back. "You knew about me this whole time?" His response came slowly this time, as if he were weighing his words. "Not at first. She told me about you when I came back, said she didn't know how to end things with you because you were fragile. I didn't think it was my place to interfere, but I guess now I wish I had." Fragile, the word echoed in my mind like a slap. Lily had dismissed my entire existence, reducing me to a convenience. Why stay with someone who lies so easily? I asked, barely able to keep the venom out of my words. Kevin's response shocked me because I love her. I've known her for years, and I know she can be stupid and selfish, but she's mine. "I'm sorry if this hurts, but I'm not giving her up." It felt like a knife to the gut. His words weren't an apology. They were a claim of ownership. As if Lily were surprised he'd won, and I was merely a temporary obstacle. But his admission confirmed something I'd been avoiding. Lily had been playing both of us. She wasn't just a cheater. She was a manipulator. Someone who lied so effortlessly that she'd woven a web of deceit around everyone who cared about her. I ended the conversation abruptly with, "Thanks for the clarity. You can have her." Then I blocked him. For a moment, I sat there staring at my phone, letting the weight of his words settle. Kevin wasn't just complicit. He was actively fighting to keep the lie alive. And Lily, true to form, was letting him. This wasn't just betrayal anymore. This was a calculated, cruel game that they both seemed content to play, but I wasn't going to be their pawn anymore. It was time to decide how I was going to end this. And for the first time in days, I felt a spark of power returning. When I arrived at Lily's apartment, I felt a storm brewing inside me. My heart was pounding, my palms were sweating, and my anger was teetering on the edge of exploding. But I couldn't let her see that. Not yet. I needed to stay composed at least for long enough to watch her lies unravel. She opened the door with her usual casualness, but when she saw the look on my face, her expression faltered. "Max, what's wrong?" "What's wrong?" I said, stepping inside and slamming the door shut behind me. "What's wrong is that I just had a very enlightening conversation with Kevin." Lily's face went pale. She stammered, "I don't know what he told you, but he told me everything." I interrupted, pulling out my phone and opening the screenshots. "Your little double life, the engagement announcement at Thanksgiving, all of it." I shoved the phone toward her, watching as her eyes darted over the evidence. For a moment, she just stood there silent. Then she sank onto the couch, burying her face in her hands. "Max, I didn't mean for it to get this far." My voice trembled more with fury than sadness. "Didn't mean for it to get this far. Lily, you've been lying to me for 2 years. You used me. You let me believe we had a future together while you were sneaking around with him, and now you're telling me you didn't mean to. I didn't know how to end it." She blurted out, looking up at me with watery eyes. "I cared about you, Max. I still do. But Kevin, don't you dare say he's the one." I snapped. "Because if he's the one, then what the hell was Ilium? A placeholder? Someone to fill the void while he was gone?" You didn't answer, which told me everything I needed to know. The silence was deafening and it broke something in me. "You were planning to propose to him at Thanksgiving," I said, my voice cracking. "While I was still in the picture, while I was planning to make pumpkin pie for your family, to spend the holiday feeling like I finally belonged somewhere. You robbed me of that, Lily. Do you even realize how cruel that is?" Her tears started falling in earnest now, but I didn't care. "I didn't mean to hurt you," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. "I was going to tell you after Thanksgiving. I didn't know how to." I cut her off, my anger boiling over. "You didn't know how to end it because you didn't want to face the consequences of your actions. You wanted to have your cake and eat it too, Lily. Well, guess what? I'm done being your backup plan." I reached into my bag and pulled out the spare key to her apartment. With a flick of my wrist, I tossed it onto the coffee table. "We're done," I said, my voice firm and final. "Max, please." She started, but I was already heading for the door. I turned back one last time, meeting her tearful gaze. "You don't get to ask for forgiveness, Lily. Not after this." And with that, I walked out, slamming the door behind me. As I stepped out into the crisp night air, a wave of relief washed over me. For the first time in days, I felt like I could breathe again. It wasn't just the end of a relationship, it was the end of a chapter in my life where I let someone else's lies define my worth. And I was finally ready to write the next one on my own terms. The aftermath was surreal. I packed up my things from the apartment Lily and I had shared with a mixture of numbness and rage. My best friend, Sophie, was my rock through it all. She showed up with boxes, takeout, and an endless supply of encouragement. "You're doing the right thing," she said as she taped up a box labeled Books and Betrayal. Still, the sting of it all wouldn't fade. Every time I looked at something I brought into that apartment, a throw pillow we picked out together, a mug I bought to match her, my chest tightened. How could I have built a life with someone who was lying to me the entire time? Sophie insisted I block Lily and Kevin on everything. "Out of sight, out of mind," she said, swiping my phone to make sure I followed through. I agreed reluctantly. Cutting them off was necessary, but it didn't stop the thoughts from spiraling late at night. I kept replaying every moment of our relationship. Every red flag I'd ignored, trying to understand how I'd missed it. 2 days after I moved out, Caroline called. Her voice was shaky, almost desperate. "Max, I just heard what happened. I'm so sorry, honey." I had no idea Lily was seeing Kevin again. I clenched the phone tightly, my knuckles white. "Didn't you?" I asked, my voice sharp. "You told me I couldn't come to Thanksgiving because he was back. You said it would be awkward." She sputtered, clearly caught off guard. "I thought it was just a misunderstanding. I didn't realize how serious it was. I never meant to hurt you." I let out a bitter laugh. "You knew enough to prioritize his feelings over mine. That's all I needed to know." Caroline sighed heavily. "Max, please understand. I just wanted to keep the peace. I didn't want to choose sides." "You chose," I said coldly, cutting her off. "And it wasn't me." I hung up before she could say more. Her apology fell hollow, like someone trying to save face rather than genuinely make amends. The truth was the entire family had played a role in this charade. Whether they actively supported Lily or just looked the other way, they'd all contributed to keeping me in the dark. Back at Sophie's, I threw myself into distraction. I updated my resume and started applying for new jobs in a different part of the city. I joined her in a yoga class, though my downward dog looked more like a collapsed starfish. Anything to keep my mind from drifting back to Lily and the mess she'd made in my life. But at night, the memories crept in. The way she used to hold my hand during Sunday dinners with her family. The time she surprised me with a weekend trip after a tough week at work. I hated how much I missed the version of her I thought was real. One evening, as Sophie and I sat on her couch watching bad reality TV, she turned to me and said, "You're allowed to feel hurt, you know. You're allowed to grieve this." Her words at me like a punch to the gut. For so long, I've been trying to push the pain away, pretending it didn't matter. But it did. I had loved her, or at least a version of her she showed me. And now I had to figure out how to pick up the pieces without her. The next day, I booked an appointment with a therapist. It was time to stop running from the pain and start healing from it. Months have passed, and while the scars are still there, they've started to fade. I left the old city behind and moved into a cozy apartment in a new town where no street corner reminds me of Lily or the life I thought we were building. It's a fresh start, and for the first time in years I feel like I'm truly living for myself. Therapy has been a game changer. My therapist, Dr. Ellen, doesn't sugarcoat things. She pushed me to confront the patterns I had ignored. Not just in Lily's behavior, but in my own willingness to overlook red flags. "You have to stop dimming your light for people who don't deserve to stand in it," she said during one particularly emotional session. Those words stayed with me. Charlie, my golden retriever rescue, has been my biggest source of joy. His tail-wagging greetings make even the hardest days a little brighter. He doesn't care about the past, only that I throw his favorite squeaky toy a dozen times before breakfast. Adopting him was the best decision I've made. Thanksgiving is just around the corner, and this year it's different. I'm hosting a Friendsgiving, a celebration of the family I've chosen. Sophie's bringing her famous spinach artichoke dip, and my new coworker Jasmine promised to bake a pie. It's a small gathering, but it feels more meaningful than any grand event could. These are the people who've shown me what unconditional support looks like. A few weeks ago, I received a letter from Lily. It was postmarked from her old address, the one I used to know so well. Against my better judgment, I opened it. The first line read, "Max, I know I don't deserve your forgiveness." I stopped there. I didn't need to read the rest. I already knew what it would say: apologies, excuses, promises to change. I fed the letter to my fireplace, watching the flames consume the last trace of her in my life. I've learned so much since that fateful Thanksgiving invitation. I've learned that love shouldn't come with conditions or lies. I've learned that I'm stronger than I ever thought possible. And most importantly, I've learned that sometimes letting go isn't just an act of courage, it's an act of self-respect. As I set the table for Friendsgiving, Charlie sniffing at the turkey roasting in the oven, I feel a deep sense of gratitude. Not for the betrayal or the heartbreak, but for the growth that came from it. This year, I'm thankful for my resilience, for the people who stood by me, and for the chance to start anew. When my friends arrive, the apartment fills with laughter and warmth. For the first time in a long time, I'm surrounded by people who truly see me. No lies, no secrets, just love. And that, I realize, is the only thing I need this Thanksgiving.